BJ from Game Gumbo. I've got my guest here, Jonny Pac, who's been talking about games. And one of the things that we've been looking at off screen, and some of the comments are coming from the chat crew, your Kramer and Kiesling collection. Look at this thing. Jonny Pac, I know they're all little babies and you're not going to want to tell me, but there's got to be one in there. What's the ones that stand out for you?
Well, coming down to my favorite would be Colosseum. Now that's just Kramer and without Kiesling on that particular one. And I do have the deluxe TMG one, and I do have the original Days of Wonder one. So I would say, for many reasons, that's just one of my favorite games of all time, and it's also one of their games, his games. As far as collaborations, I'd say Porta Nigra is a fantastic new one. I know it's a little undersung. You can get it cheap online, which is good, but it's a fantastic game. Everybody that plays it, or you see a Twitter picture with it on there, just raving about how fun it is and how awesome it is. And it just didn't seem to get that limelight buzz whenever it came out.
When we first got into Gumbo, we played it. I mean, every week for a while. We loved the fact that visually, and this, I guess this is like a lot of Kramer and Kiesling's games, but it has a visual appeal as you build those little tower tiles going up. It's got the juicy, delicious decisions of, man, I really need to get to that next space, but it's going to, if I remember right, it costs you coins or whatever the currency is there. And if you really want to make that move. And then also it's the focus. You can't do everything in the game, right? You can't do everything. And you're getting jealous because other people are making these big stacks of tiles, or they're going over here and getting these points. And if you try to do a little bit of everything, it seems like it's kind of a weaker strategy. You kind of got to be strong in one of the areas. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say so. There's a few things interesting about this, because from the outside, you might look at it and say, this looks a little bit like Taurus, right? And you might think just like city building games, oh, it must all be about the stacking of these things. It is, these towers, but there's also a lot of other things that are interesting about it, in that you're talking about the majorities, what these are worth. And there's kind of a strange thing is when you you get your tower piece, and they're colored in a sense. They're always gray, but when you get one from a blue market, it's a blue tower, and then you house it in your blue tower area, and then when you build it, it falls into a blue area. And so there's that, which is kind of invisible maybe from the photographic standpoint, but from the gameplay standpoint, that's very vivid and creates some interesting decisions. And then the action selection method is fascinating too, because you have a hand of cards of a symmetrical deck that everybody has, and then you can take a subset of those actions per card that you play. And there's ways to spend tokens to even do more actions than what the card would normally limit you to do, and that in itself is fun. And then there's this inflection point, which is fascinating, is the game kind of comes to a halfway point, and you've got your score track, and you have to decide how many of those points you're going to just keep as points, and how many of those you're going to cash out as money to fund your second half of the game. And that is such a moment where it's amazing.
And if I remember right, you do it in player order, so you might even have an idea as to what you want, and then Jonny Pac goes all in on points, and you're like, oh wow,
right?
He just jumped me by 10 points.
Yeah, you could go on money, you can go really lean on that. You're trying to look at how much did I spend on the first half of the game, what kind of a margin do I need to stay competitive, and it's just one of those ideas like, who would even think of that? Well, these guys would.
But you know what else I like about the game? And that's these cards over here, that card market. You played the game more than me. I've probably only played it 7 or 8 times, so I don't remember the names of them. But there's the chain of cards that really get you, I want to say like 56 or 58 points, some big number. But you have to hit it perfectly. I mean, you got to get you got to keep building up to get that third one. And whoever starts on that track, all of a sudden it becomes like tap the leader, whack-a-mole. Everybody's going to be gunning for that one player, because I'll tell you get that many points out of these cards, you might be the chip leader, So people are going to attack you. Again, there's more than one way to win the game, but it's not really a point salad. You're not really doing a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You got to kind of get good at some of the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it has very good focal points, and even that set collection thing doesn't feel like it was just this game isn't complex enough. Go collect some cards off the side. Those work in a very interesting way, because they're based on certain criteria, and then you've got these cards that let you follow these prerequisites to build up to what you're talking about, and it kind of funnels to that point. And yeah, there's just a lot of really cool things, and I would say everything ties together really well in the game.
Verla wants to know, what's the best player count for it? I've played it every player count, 2, 3, and 4. I think it plays well. I don't think it goes to 5. I think it just goes to 4, right?
So I've played it. I think I played only 3 player, but 3 players is kind of my favorite player count. So that's not an anomaly. If I can get a group of 3, that's my.
Well, Verla, I've played it all of them, 2 to 4, and I think it plays well at all of them because the decisions are there. Again, it's sort of micro decisions where you're not spending a lot of time on your turn. So the turns move fast, and when you get to that halfway point, that's when everybody at the table goes, "Wow, that makes this game." And that is it's Porta Nigra from Stronghold Games. Although you might have the Eggerspiel version, I'm not sure.
I have the Stronghold one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.